Okay, we're live. Let's snuggle up here. Sorry, technical difficulties. All right, what's up, guys? John Sentez, Cutternation podcast. Cass, John Peabody, our guest. John, thanks for coming. Second time on the podcast. Appreciate it. How you doing? What's up?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Good to see you guys. Good to talk to you guys. I'm doing well. Same thing. Trying to do what everyone else is doing. Trying to make the most of this weird situation that we're in. Make the most of my time, the family time, and yeah, just, like I said, take care of the family, check in on my players, and see how everyone's doing. Kind of see what happens tomorrow.
So they just canceled the high school season recently, and I've seen a bunch of just people just really sad, and it's a tragic thing to happen. It's probably for the best. Do you see baseball going back to normal, or do you see things change?
I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to be positive about it and see it being normal, sooner than later. But I think like every week that goes by where it seems like nothing changes. I don't know. It's hard to see a light at the end of the tunnel. But it's still early. I mean, we still got plenty of time before summer comes. So hopefully over the next month or 2 months, everything kind of gets back to normal and we can have our summer.
So do you think that there's going to be a summer season, basically?
I think there's going to be a version of it. I don't know if it's going to start in the middle of June, like we're kind of, or first week of June or whatever, like we're kind of used to. But I think there will be something. I really have no idea. I really have
I'm
no
hopeful.
clue. I hope that there is, because I really hope that there is, because there's a lot of good kids that work hard, that have invested a lot of time and money into this, until this point, that are at a crucial point in their career of trying to get a scholarship. And it's a big summer for a lot of guys, and I just hope that they get a chance to kind of showcase themselves in front of the right people and get that opportunity to play at the next level, because it's that college is a big step in life. So I hope these guys can, like I say, get a chance to go somewhere and do what they need to do.
I wonder if have you heard about the NCAA expanding roster numbers or anything?
I haven't heard anything about that. From the little that I've heard, I haven't heard that there really has been much give on the NCAA side. The only thing I've heard about is them being able to give kids their year back, but I haven't heard about giving more scholarship money or what they're going to do, expanding rosters. I haven't heard of anything what they're going to do with that, playing extra games. I don't know how that.
Talk a little bit more about the problem with that in general, because I actually kind of know what you're talking about, because my friend Jason was talking about it from the softball side. But can you kind of talk a little bit more about what you mean? Like, what are they talking about? What are some of the things the implications of this? Because you were talking about scholarships, and you want to outline that a little bit more?
Yeah, I think you just look at just the numbers alone. I'm not sure exactly. I want to say baseball has about 13 and a half scholarships that they give out, and they have a 25 to 30 man roster. Again, I'm not really tight with the college numbers, but it's a lot of, it's not as many scholarships for as close to as many players as they have on the field. And when you give the whole team opportunity to come back next year, outside of the guys that are going to get drafted in a shortened draft, and then you have a whole new group of kids that are going to come in, and everyone, your money is kind of lined up a certain way. So if you have kids that don't get drafted and they decide to come back, and then you have kids, whether they were, like, let's say a sophomore, a draft eligible 19-year-old sophomore, who's able to come back next year if he wants to, and then you have an incoming freshman who you have on a 80% scholarship, or maybe even a 30% scholarship. So you're going to have to add and subtract somewhere, and if NCAA is not willing to add scholarships, then you're going to have to subtract, and it's gonna affect people. It may not affect them now. It sounds good that they're going to give them their year back, but there might be seniors that get cut. There might be freshmen that lose percentage in scholarship, and it might happen at the last minute, which is which is really tough on them and their family and their baseball situation, trying to get playing time or whatever the case may be.
My friend said 2021 they were going to be kind of the front end of this because there's not going to be anything left. It's really scary. I don't know what else to say.
I think junior college coaches are going to have some fun with it. They're going to get some good players. I think there are going to be a lot of kids that enter the JUCO level that they're just going to have to, I think, unless, like I said, the NCAA bends with their how many scholarships they have. So I think JUCO colleges are gonna benefit from it. And to that point, like you said, it's going to have that back layer on the 2021s.
Yeah, it's not like these people are going away. Like, just like you're saying, like there's going to be, there has to be, they talked about it. I was listening to CC Sabathia's podcast, and they had Aaron Boone and their pitching coach on there too. And they were talking about like doing a shortened season, but expanding the rosters, because if you do a shortened season, then you're probably going to ride your horses more, and it's going to do real taxing things to your starting pitching and some other stuff. And so, you look at the NCAA, it's probably worse because there's just more people, they're involved in just college baseball, not even the NCAA, but college in general. Like, it's not going anywhere, like you said,
And they still have to go to college, so that's also the thing. It's like, you can go, hey, dude, like, we're only playing 3 or 4 games a week. Let's play 6. And, maybe you can expand rosters and do things like that, but then they still have to go to class, and they still have to pass class, and they still have to travel, and they have to do those things, which, it's a lot for anybody. So I don't know what's going to happen.
I don't want to go to, like, let's say I'm a senior. I'm not going to school another year. Are you crazy?
So I was talking to some Minnesota kids, and it's like, I hope kids are starting to think a little bit more non-traditionally. I think you alluded to it in the JUCO route, but I think, we've had players create gap years for themselves. And I think some young men and women are going to have to start making some really mature decisions for their future. Because I think that something that is going to be a lot more attractive because of this is when things get back up and running for some of these seniors, college might not be the best opportunity for them to do what they want to do at this moment. And I don't think it's that crazy for kids to take a year to train and try to develop and do what they want to do. And through that process, they might be a little bit more ready to go into college and multitask and do what you need to do to be a student athlete. So I know it's not for everybody, but gosh, hard times really make us reflect and think about what's important to us. And I think this is going to be a differentiator for a lot of players, whether they want to continue to play, right? And it might just be very eye-opening to a lot where they go, I really know how much I want to play, and this makes it even more obvious, because when I got nothing left, all I want is baseball. So yeah. It's pretty cool how we get to be in this, as scary as it is, and kind of try to offer some perspective from our experience. I want to, so in that vein, we can keep talking about this all day long. And by the way, thank you for that perspective, because I think that people need to, kids need to be really thinking about, what are the real ramifications for my playing time at any level, and actually have some real answers. We don't need fluff right now. We need some honesty. So I also, in our text message last night, I think it would be helpful to kind of offer a distraction a little bit here, and just try to talk baseball as if the world around us is not going on. What do you think about that?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's try to marry the new school and the old school guys a little bit, huh?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to start real broad and just say, what's balance? How do you start talking about balance in your hitters? And feel free to talk about balance in life, in school, and however you want to take that, okay? Let's start there, John.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Well, I actually, we had our text, so I kind of went through, and I actually wanted to just look at the actual definition of balance, right? and let's just it's the weight evenly distributed to something or someone to remain upright or steady. And to me, the steady part is the part that really stands out. So to me, balance is just really finding a position where you can be steady, finding a position where it's, whether you want to call it 50-50, whether you want to call it 60-40. To me, it's in a position where like I said, I feel like I'm steady and I'm locked in and I'm not shifting, and I'm strong and I'm connected to the ground. Yeah, I mean, that's the best way I can describe it is be firm, be into the ground. And like I said, I keep going back to the word steady and stable. Stability is another word I kind of keep bouncing off of when I talk about balance. So it looks different at different times. I mean, you guys being pitching coaches, you guys completely I mean, you guys even more so. I mean, you guys are never, how long are you guys on 2 feet, right? So you're constantly trying to find balance sometimes, in so many different ways. That's why it's hard to describe sometimes. So at the end of the day, like I said, it's a form of being steady, and that can mean when your foot is in the air, I'm steady, right? All the way to heel strike. So that's kind of where I started off with, is just understanding that there's a stability in every kind of position that we kind of put ourselves in.
So it sounds like to me, I'm hearing that's very much like a lower half and working from the ground up. Can you have like a balanced lower half and then an imbalance in your upper half? Or is that interconnected, or like, help me understand that a little bit more?
I'm sure that, young hitters can create an ability to a certain extent to have some type of balance with their lower half and have their upper half be off a little bit. In particular, maybe more so on the backside. You can find some stability being a little bit more on the back than maybe being on the front. But no, I really want, when it comes to the upper half and what does stability look like, to me, having that head, like I said, in the center of the body, right over the belly button, whether it's, we talk about having the nose over your nuts, having your head over your head. Those are things that I use with my hitters to kind of help them stay centered and to keep them, like I said, in a steady balance position. So the upper half definitely means something. The relaxation with our upper half can dictate our balance. Sometimes guys, again, will crank and load up too early, which is gonna mess up their balance. Moving forward and with a proper sequence, in the sense of maybe having some type of fusion with my upper half as I'm going forward to create some balance as I get to heel strike is important. So again, depending on the individual, I'll navigate it. I can navigate it so many different ways, because balance is so important. And like I said, it happens throughout the whole swing. So it's something that you can really talk about forever on, as far as I'm concerned, because like I said, it's constantly happening.
So if I can give my 2 cents, I think the challenge with the idea of balance is that there's so many different applications of the idea, right? And so it's almost too ambiguous or too broad or too general of a term for us to actually take something out of it. So I think for whatever it's worth, I think, just standing upright, you can be imbalanced. Like, you can feel yourself leaning one way. You can feel yourself maybe turning something on. So one thing that your shoulders might be up and you don't even realize it. Like, we're tense, we're anxious, something like that. And so if I could give my 2 cents, it would be, when you can start realizing that balance exists everywhere, as you're walking, as you're sitting, as you're doing all these things, it's going to be a lot easier for you to recognize the imbalances as they occur. And I know that's probably, that conversation might be a little bit more for the college and high school player. But regardless, it's still the same thing. And we have to find a way to get 8 and 9-year-olds too to understand what balance is. Okay, you said heel strike, and so I know that I had asked you about launch position. Okay, do you want to run into that? Because in my opinion, okay, that moment where the front foot's coming down, whether you're a hitter or a thrower, I think that's actually what everyone's arguing about. So tell me a little bit more about heel strike. Tell me a little bit more about launch position, or maybe that's not even a thing.
Launch position. So yeah, when I talk about launch position, just so everyone knows what we talk about when we talk about launch position. Like you said, it's that position. To me, I talk about launch position being the position that I'm in right before that barrel starts to, right before I activate my core, right before I start to activate my actual committing to swing, but starting the muscles that start my swing. And to me, that's again, it goes back to being balanced, right? So to me, when we talk about the launch position, I kind of use the LA. Justin Turner did a really good job kind of showing like a little bit of an LA logo in his body with his feet being the bottom of the A, with his head being the top of it, and with his arms kind of being his arms and his bat being the L, right? So using that as a kind of a generic example and something you can work off of to be in a position before you launch, whether your hands are a little bit higher, whether your knees, whether your feet are a little bit closer. It's just a good generic version of where things should be, to an extent. So like I said, there's so much individualism that goes into what a hitter should look like at launch. If you look at certain hitters like Mike Trout, his barrel is completely kind of sideways over his head, where you look at other hitters like Mickey Mantle, where their barrel is a little bit more vertical.
Or like Jeter,
show it on camera. Can't really get that angle.
Yeah, like Jeter's vertical.
Right, some guys.
Or like Acuna.
Right. So so again, it's not a position that we sit there and teach. This is exactly what you should look like, but there's certain little intricates inside that launch position that we should be in. That is my job as a coach to kind of figure out what works best for that player, whether he should be a little bit more connected, whether it's okay for him to be a little bit more disconnected because he can get the barrel down. There's how do we train? Do we train to get the kid to learn how to flatten it out, or do we just start with it flat? There's so many variables to why a hitter should be in a certain position and why you should train getting to another position. Is he a left-handed hitter? Is he a left-handed hitter that throws righty? So is he even going to be able to get that barrel from vertical to flat because he doesn't have the ability to kind of use his left shoulder the way a right-handed hitter could use his right shoulder, or a left-handed hitter that throws lefty could use his shoulder to get the barrel flatter. So there's all these reasons why players or hitters are in positions that they're in. And like I said, us as coaches is to kind of figure out, why they're in that position and how can we create consistency while maximizing kind of his potential with his body and his bat speed and what kind of hitter is he. But at the same time, like you said, not putting guys in the same exact position. I feel like a lot of coaches do, because there's some logic to putting guys in certain positions, whether, like I said, it's a Donaldson who has a little bit more of a tip, or there's a Correa who has a little bit less of a tip, right? So some guy might have a flavor and can justify kind of teaching those things because they're really good hitters that move that way. But I just don't, like I said, I don't really believe in that. I believe in that there's more than one way to do a lot of things, and that to make a one hitter land like Donaldson and to make another hitter land like Mike Trout, I'm open to different, which, like I said, I don't think a lot of people are. So, yeah.
Two things that jumped out. So you talked about being connected, and I heard bat speed. I want to talk about both those. Connected?
Yes. Connected.
No, I don't know what that means.
So yeah, I mean, let's just go back to the word connected, right? It means close to, right? So when as a hitter, we want the bat closer to my body, not the closest, right? But I want the bat close to my body. My body, when used correctly, is going to create the bat speed. So if the bat can be connected to my body, again, which means in my world, dude, what video am I in? There you go. Having my arms bent as I get to launch and as I kind of continue to turn, opposed to disconnecting my arms and now creating a longer path, right? So connection just means, like I said, having the bat close to my body. How do you do that? By keeping your arms bent, right? And I want to stay connected as long as I can to disconnect, to get extension out in front. If I end up extending early, like I said, it affects my speed to the ball, but also affects my path, you know, to it and through it. So, like I said, being connected early is very important. There's other connection, right? There's connection to the ground as far as like where my vertical bat angle is. So there'll be hitters that barrel is really steep when it launches, and if they can flatten it out and get it connected to their body, then it works out okay. There are certain guys that, like I said, start with it kind of at a 90-degree angle with your spine. Again, so if this is your spine, right, you want your, let's just use the T because D, right, that's a 90-degree angle, right? So I kind of want to maintain that 90-degree angle with my spine before my barrel starts to turn, right? So some guys, like you said, have a hard time getting that barrel flat to that 90-degree angle. Some guys some guys don't. So like I said, being connected is not just keeping my arms bent, but also having that bat, like I said, get to that 90-degree angle as I start to turn and as I get to contact.
Is that a blast? Excuse me. Is that a blast metric?
It is a blast metric. They use the term early connection, and they use the term connection at impact. I think sometimes early connection, like I said, can be over critical, can be overused. I would rather measure the mid connection. Because, like I said, there are some guys that are disconnected early, some guys that are connected early, but no matter what, they are connected in the middle to impact. So I think, like I said, measuring the mid connection is makes more sense than measuring the early connection. The early connection kind of forces you to almost swing one way to a certain extent.
I know that you've had a relationship with them in the past. Is that something that you continue to use with your training, or you have mixed feelings on it?
I really don't.
Technology is a big thing, you know, and everybody has their own opinion. So go ahead.
My problem with the technology is that it's just not deemed as accurate as far as I'm concerned, or it's not deemed as useful to a certain extent. Like, I have video, like, you know, Area Code and Blast Motion just put out video of bat speed guys. You know, and it's just, I have a motion sensor. I have Kevin Shim at 85, 86 miles an hour, and they have him at 76 miles an hour. You know, and it's just, there's just too much. I've had too much of a discrepancy with some of the bat speed issues, even though and that's my biggest problem, is I do think kind of the bat speed is kind of in the grand scheme of things, the sensor is, you can use video for everything else, and you should use video for everything else. Like, you don't need a sensor to see if your barrel is connected to your body, as far as I'm concerned. Like, you should be able to see that. You can't use your eyes to measure how fast your bat's going. So I've had way too many discrepancies with the bat speed where I'm just like, you know, I kind of just stopped using it, to be completely honest. But
it's interesting. And then, like, just to think about, I think you really have to be critical of, and this is more from a high level standpoint, right? I think this is a good thing about technology, in all fairness. I think the fact is that it's gotten people to gamify things in a way that makes them want to train a little bit more. But I think the side effect is that when we actually start getting into it, there are some limitations. And I think the limitations are those things actually, you know, positively correlated to their success, right? And so bat speed is a tough thing, because yes, if you hit the ball with better bat speed, you hit the ball better. But the key is, like, how do you hit the ball? And I think that's it's just one of those things where you have to have some sense of balance in the whole thing, and have some perspective of what matters. So anyway, touch a little bit more on just your idea of bat speed and how you're talking about it with kids, and yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. Because it's a metric, yeah, I mean, and they have to know about it, right? Like, people want to know what their bat speed are. Colleges want to know.
To me, it's the most important metric. Your attack angle, the direction that your barrel is moving, which again you can see in a video, but sometimes it will get harder to see, is super important. But to me, it comes down to bat speed and bat path. yeah, like I said, when it comes to bat speed, it's super important, man. The faster you can swing, now the faster and the easier. I mean, easy effort, easy bat speed. Is to me is more important than just bat speed in general. Right, we're all trying. I get that hitters try, but it needs to be again. I hate even the word effortless I think sounds bad because it's not effortless. There's definitely effort there, but I guess it kind of comes down to just moving your body in the right sequence and being able to control your body and your swing. But yeah, just being able to deliver it easy. So like again, so I'm not so susceptible to the off speed stuff. Right. I don't want to swing hard. I want to swing quick is something that I talk to guys a lot about trying to do is being quick to the ball. Not being hard to the baseball. So it can be a little bit more of a reactionary thing instead of kind of a set out to swing, and it's just a longer, harder movement as far as I'm concerned. We do talk about doing early bat speed, trying to excel the barrel a little bit early with certain hitters that can do it. This way, if I am late, I do have the barrel moving with some momentum late in the zone, so I can still hit the ball hard. I'm not pushing my hands and then making not only am I making contact and too deep, but I'm making it with a slow bat. So if I'm gonna get beat deep, at least try to get the barrel moving a little bit early, so I can get there, so I can do some damage with the ball. We train it in different ways. We'll use some heavy bats. We'll use some light bats. I like the heavy bats. I don't mind the heavy bats. I kind of like using the light bats more, to be completely honest. I feel like when guys feel what quick is, it seems to help them move the bat quicker. I know there's been science and all that stuff done on donuts and how much do heavy bats actually create bat speed. I think if you do it over a long term, heavy bats definitely will create some bat speed. And I think that's kind of I just like in a 45-minute lesson, I like the way hitters react to after using a lighter bat first. So how do you guys feel about? I mean, you guys are.
I got so much into what you're saying. It was awesome. So because you guys just went for a minute. The technology thing you said is very interesting because the trust of the numbers being consistent across the board, that's the number one thing that throws up red flags with me. We've been learning a lot about radar guns and things, and we're starting to understand like things simple like battery power can affect tremendously some of the numbers. Like if you don't have a consistent power source going into your radar gun, and apparently normally electricity spikes, right? It just happens. Well, that can happen when your radar guns, and all of a sudden you can get a spike and you can throw one 6 miles an hour faster, and you're like, what? You know what I mean? It's just something crazy that happens. And a lot of the people that we talk to, that happens. So I ask you a question. Bat Speed Recon, are you familiar with that?
What's that?
Bat Speed Recon. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not.
So our buddies over in Colorado, Go Catalyst Sports, they created a device that you put a reflector on the end of it, and it'll give you your bat speed on anything that you put the reflector on, right? So if you're saying bat speed's everything, they use this primarily for underload and overload training, and it's very off a tee. So it's just a way to track your progress of doing like you're saying, right? So I think one of the ways they use it, they do like a program, but one of like that exercise, I guess you could say, or days, is like you use a light bat and you crush baseballs with it off the tee, and then you go into the cage and use your normal bat and see if you can replicate the same movements, just like what you're saying. So it's an interesting device, and you might want to check it out. But I agree with you. You gotta have stuff that you can trust, and even understanding what radar guns are really doing with doing an estimation calculation. It's very interesting since we've been learning a lot about that. So check that out. Number one, go ahead.
I will send me some info on it.
We will. We know the guys.
Sometimes with the bat sensors, it's like it's like the higher level, the faster it moves, the harder it works, and the more inaccurate it is. Like with the younger kids, it's pretty accurate, but with the older kids who really swing it at 80 to 90 miles an hour, it gets inaccurate.
Totally.
And like I said, dude, I've been embarrassed sometimes where I've told the scout, like, yeah, dude, I've had X player had to get it up to 90 miles an hour with a bat with the sensor. And he's like, oh, dude, we don't have a Major League Baseball player that swings at 90. So I'm like, it means nothing now. Like I said, if anything, I look like a dumbass because I'm telling someone that the guy swings a bat at 90 and he's telling me I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But
yeah, but that's not your fault, though. You know what I mean?
Those things, dude.
You're just trying to,
right.
For sure. You're trying to try like the rest of us are in the situation, and those sensors and ideas and everything. Those are tools of measurement that help us track the progress and help us understand where they stack up to the potential of whatever level they're trying to get to, right?
Right.
It's the same exact thing that we're dealing with. And the people that give us shit for throwing running guns and training velocity, it's like, yes, if that's all that we're doing on our own, right, independently of anything else, yes, that might not be good in and of itself. But we know how movement happens. And so I think that's like where you run into a guy like you who understands how the body moves. That's the differentiator, because all of this technology, all of these ideas don't mean anything if you don't understand how the body wants to move, right? And so to be able to identify these things, you got to have some guidelines, and you have to have some principles of like what the body likes, And so anyway, it just has to be.
And that's where we go to the swinging hard versus throwing quick. You know what I'm saying? Like like I said, throwing the ball hard and zipping it where you need to do it versus just chucking it where the hell you need to do. And there's time obviously to do both, right? There's time where you need to train to swing as hard as you can, and who cares about your head pulling off the baseball? Who cares how hard you hit it? Just feel what hard is, and then like try to hone it. Like there's, like you said, but I just think so many kids, when they get the sensor or they get the radar gun, it just becomes, who gives a shit what happens?
There are pitfalls,
just let it go. Too much of it. Yeah. And I do, I use a hit sensor. I use the hit tracks all the time, with my guys in Temecula. And there's times where I got to be like, I got to shut it off because they're on their first swing of the day and they're looking at the hit tracks. I'm like, bro, like, you're crazy. So, I get it though, because I know if I played, I'd be looking at that thing too. So,
and
just got to make sure that they swing responsible.
Could you imagine if hitters actually got their data on the screen like a pitcher did?
Oh my gosh. The first time I ever, I want to say I was 14 years old and I was pitching at the area code games. Never, didn't really know what it was. I heard about it. But I was like, cool, I'm here. Might as well throw. So I'm seeing guys pitch, and I'm like, damn, dude, like their numbers popping up on their scoreboard there. And I know in the trot I was like 92 or something like that. So I'm like, all right, let's see this. I'm throw it, and before the catcher catches it, I'm like turning my head to see how hard I threw it. I don't think I even touched 90 that day. I think it was like 89. I think I was sitting at like 89. I was like, damn. But yeah, just being able, that was my first time ever, like I said, throw the ball, see,
it's weird, right
there what you were doing. It's crazy. It was crazy.
It's weird when it's like on the scoreboard and you're actively, if you've never done it before, because there's a generation of us that like never threw a game with the radar gun visible to understand what was happening.
A generation.
You know what I mean?
I never did it after that. That was the only time, unless you played in the big leagues, you didn't throw a pitch and know what you pitch. That's so
it was so helpful
it's
to me
experience.
when I would come in relief and throw and like look and they'd be like, man, I don't feel good today. And I look and I'm like, oh well, that's 93. So let's just stay there. That makes sense. Like, okay, maybe I have good timing. Maybe I'm right there. Or on the flip side where it's like, okay, something's wrong. 88 there's I don't know what's going on weird, and you try something on the next one, you're like, okay, there it is, found it. So, calibrating and processing that fast, I feel like a high level guy like you or me could handle that, but totally get caught up in the, the doofus side of it. You were like, huh? Completely rubbernecking.
I was on the doofus side.
For sure.
That was me all day.
Jeff wanted me to ask you some questions about sequencing and some things as far as how hitters approach pitchers. And I know you and I have had some awesome conversations about this. About there are some weird things happen. I made a weird claim to our group, and I'll say this to you. It's an aggressive statement, but an easy generalization. So I'm generalizing for sure, right? So on my feed the other day, Kumar Rocker shows up in the game where he pitches against Michigan and just completely embarrasses them, right? And I see it. I see it right away. Every guy on Michigan has the same flat college swing, every one of them. So he comes in going 2-seam, 4-seam slider, and he's got a banger. And they're all taking this same level swing, completely missing the ball. They're not even on plane. There's no athletic movement at all. They look like they're in 2-strike mode from the first pitch. So they're basically on their heels. And, to you, my question is, as a hitter, if you're coach and you guys have a philosophy and you're seeing your entire team strike out, like when do you try something else? When do you risk that?
I think it comes down to how much did you prepare for that ability to make that adjustment. To me, if you didn't prepare, if you don't feel like you can hit the damn thing, then it's pretty hard to sit there and go, I'm going to try to hit it. So I really think preparation is really the key to being able to feel comfortable kind of jumping off that edge of going outside of that approach that you would normally have of trying to work off his fastball. And there's kind of, you got to be willing to think differently. You got to be willing to sit on a slider and say, dude, I'm going to look at that pitch, and when it comes, I'm going to swing 3-5 inches underneath it and hope that it slides. You have to be willing to take some take some risk. So you got to be, like I said, you got to prepare. Hopefully that prepare can get you to change. And then, like I said, you got to be willing to take some risks. You got to be willing to swing and miss. You got to be, you're going to look like a dumbass. So try to do it nicely, I guess. I mean, at the end of the day, to sit there and act like you're gonna hit Rocker's slider. You're not gonna hit good sliders. You're gonna have to elevate. You're still gonna have to elevate in the zone as much as you can. Mm-hmm. You got to try to scoot it over a little bit and try to make it a little bit more over the middle of the plate as much as you can, and try to hope he makes a mistake and capitalize on a mistake. But like I said, you got to prepare for it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
prepare for it.
It to me, it was weird. Like, we know he's going to throw the slider, right? He's going to throw 60 of them or whatever it is. And I just saw so many, like, just out front wrist rolls in situations that I felt like if they had a better, like, for example, like if there was a Venezuelan in the box, he would have just been like shooting balls over the first baseman's head and, going to the 4-hole and playing that game to try to make him change his strategy. And I just saw, righties and lefties, everybody in the same. I saw the same like level bat path of everybody just going like this. And so, when the ball's going down and the angles are different, it just doesn't. To me, it doesn't make sense. And it's something I look for, when I'm pitching myself. So, it's. I know it's an aggressive question from there, but.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the attack angle, right? So now when we're talking, that goes back to, like I said, to me, the two most important metrics being bat speed and attack angle. So, it's just getting guys feeling comfortable trying to swing underneath the baseball, which in college is even in pro ball, the idea of swinging underneath the ball is hard to do. It's just so outside of my normal realm of thinking that. It feels weird to even think like that, nevertheless move like that. So, like I said, you got to when the pitcher is throwing well, there's only so much wiggle room. You're going to have to adjust to make him adjust. If you're showing him that you're sitting on his slider, then maybe he'll start throwing. He'll start making an adjustment. But if it's working, he's not going to change. Especially when you have that dominant type of stuff. If you have stock stuff, then maybe you'll adjust to kind of change the psyche and you're playing kind of that mind game. But when you have dominant stuff, like Rocker has dominant stuff, it's you got to make the adjustment as a hitter to hit it to make him.
I'm excited to see if because looking at his body type, looking at his movements, like you guys are talking about, and when he gets drafted, you know, like I think I don't even know how old he is, but I'm pretty sure the age is 21, and I don't know where it is. But like this gap and whatever's going with this could mess with so many guys on that side of it too. Like, do you jump out as a rocker and just go, I'm out, maybe go JUCO for a year, get drafted, and call it a day? Because this could ruin up the whole thing of what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's that Vandy, you know, Corbin put that spell on him, man. Corbin, you know, you get some good players to go out there, man. Like I said, I was a mediocre player, and I would have went to a junior college before I went to a college like that. If I was a player like Rocker, I mean, you know, justifying going to a junior college for 2 years before you go to a school like that and just trying to get drafted 4 or 5 times, you know, it makes sense. But you know, I think it kind of I know some kids at Vanderbilt. I know I've heard nothing but good things about Kumar, to be completely honest. It sounds like he's
That's awesome.
He's a really good teammate. Like I said, it sounds like he's kind of a special kid on the field and off the field. So I think he was looking for that chance to be a kid and to live that dream. And at the end of the day, dude, like what, he's 18, 19, 20. He's going to get drafted.
I know, right? Exactly.
Kid's going to be in the big leagues at 21 years old. You know, God willing, he stays healthy. He's going to pitch in the big leagues for 15 years, and he's going to make as much money as he's going to be able to spend. So, you know, that Vanderbilt life is, it is like college is not once in a lifetime. You can go to college anytime you want. I mean, there's only, you know, I get wanting to go to college when you're 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. The Vanderbilt experience is a little bit of that's not the same college experience that people experience at San Diego State. So, you know, kid went out there and lived his best life for 3 years, had some fun doing it. And, like I said, if he stays healthy, you know, he can be all right.
Yeah. I'm excited to see where he's going to progress to.
I'm just saying there are some things that he's a big boy, and it makes me wonder why he's not throwing a little bit harder. And
yeah, I mean, I don't know how hard he throws, but last time I checked, 97, 98. That's what I thought he was throwing. Seems to be all right with me, but.
So it's like it's in relation. So these are the things when you see big dudes throwing that hard, and then you compare them to how little dudes throw hard. This is the whole argument. So I'm just saying that I hope he continues to work his butt off and continue to, you know, try to be the best that he possibly can be, because there are things that will haunt him a little bit down the road. I'm just saying. So he's obviously really good. What, number one? They're talking about number one overall, yes?
I think so.
So anyway,
I mean, okay, so let's get a little bit back into some more sequencing talks right there. So basically what I was saying was like offensive strategies not working, right? How many different strategies do you really try to focus on like early? Do you know, there's a lot of very general things that happen, right? They're very easy to understand for a young guy. And our job, in contradiction to what you're trying to teach, is we're trying to stay off page with a lot of our guys. So when we got 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds playing against 12-year-olds, and we're, you know, just explaining the situation better. Like, we want to practice throwing this sequence of pitches when we're going to face the best hitter we could ever face. So we got tools in our tool belt that will disrupt what he's trying to do.
So when I talk to my hitters about that, you know, there's so much that goes into that, right? So as a hitter, again, unless I'm going against that super, and again, even if I'm going against a super dominant arm, it's like you can't have too much respect for the pitcher, right? I can't sit there and assume that you're going to sit there and paint 3 strikes on black and you're not going to make a mistake, right? So I started off with getting kids to understand where they're good, number one, right? What are you good at? How good are we at tunneling pitches into that zone? So that's the first thing I want them to understand is who are they. I don't think that young players understand that they don't trust that pitchers make enough mistakes. that they, like I said, that they, they swing at pitches because they're strikes. They don't swing at pitches because it's their strike to hit. That they just, they don't, again, I watch so much baseball. I'm starting to put together these like extra clip things where these extra at bats where you kind of see pitch by pitch by pitch. Dude, Mariano Rivera gave Miguel Cabrera 3 good pitches to hit and with up by 2 with a runner on first base. Gagne gave Barry Bonds, again, they're 98 miles an hour, but he gave him 3 good pitches to hit that at bat. The best of the best pitchers are going to give good hitters pitches to hit. The best hitters are going to get good pitches to hit. So no matter how you look at it as a hitter, no matter how good he is, no matter how good I am, I'm going to get a pitch to hit. So just kind of getting guys to trust that, number one, is a big thing. I talked about looking responsible because I feel like pitchers, you guys pitch off a guy's body language. Your job is to get guys out of balance, right? Your guys is to get guys to swing out of sequence, right? So at least if I can take a pitch, right? So if you're going to throw me an 0-0 curveball, right? If I take it responsibly or I swing at it responsibly, I think a pitcher's next thought is, okay, I'm going to mix it up. I'm not going to sit there and just bury curveball on this guy to get this guy out, right? I'm going to go soft. I'm going to go hard. But again, you going hard is what I want you to do. So like I said, making sure that guys look like they can hit is to me is really important. Maintaining, balance into a good launch position, so you're not selling out on one pitch, thus getting the opposite that you want. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, totally. There's a couple things right there. Number one, can we do another podcast with you and I talk about the pitchers and the hitters right there? Because that's going to be awesome, because that's going to be fun, especially about how guys are going against. And I was saying this the other day that I think MLB, let's just do crazy live at bats let's just vote on Twitter. Who do we want to see? Let's get Mike Trout versus whoever. You know what I mean? Let's get 5 dudes and put on a real special event for MLB, and let's go Mike Trout, Max Scherzer. Let's see it. I want to see it, because that would draw.
Let's do it.
If we did live at bats with the best big leaguers in the world, everybody would tune in. We'd be like, all right, let's see what happens. This is an opportunity for Major League Baseball to do some. Oh, dude, yeah. Hey, forget the All-Star game. Let's just do live ABs. That's what everybody wants to see anyway, right? Create some weird point system. Nobody wants to run to left field or right field anyway, or leg out this double. That's risky for everybody. But if they knew it was live at bats, they'd be like, you'd see them be like, ooh. Kershaw, because the world would go nuts if Trout took Kershaw deep or whatever it was. There's some super risk there. But that's the intriguing part about tennis, where it's 1v1, and you just don't see that in baseball, And it's so funny when I go live to some of these college kids or some other guys, and when they go they don't know what happens, they forget that there's another human there, and I'll just say something, and then they just look like, huh? And I'm like, yeah, you there in the box. You there. Hi. I'm messing with you. What are you doing? Shut up and swing the bat, and they're like, whoa, why is he talking to me? What is happening? You're not allowed to do that. And I'm like, oh, dude, poor guy, Yeah,
no, they're not used to that one-on-one street ball, man.
Yeah, exactly, dude. If we're playing wiffle ball, I was telling Cass, of course, things we need to order and do, but I want to get some blitz balls in here and just have a blast and throw some nasty things and create some fun videos,
Dude, but why is that so, I'm so annoyed, because that's such a good idea. Can you imagine Bryce Harper versus anybody, just 9 at-bats in a row? Just 1v1. That's so cool.
I think they got bigger things on their mind right now than trying to get that. But at some point, things like that might become a reality. When you talk about the summer, hey, what are we going to do with the summer? That's what I'm saying. I think that there could be something like that too, where guys just go, hey, if we're done, and we can go do our stuff privately or whatever you want to call it. And then guys,
they could just go in the stadium. Nobody's there, just broadcast it. Oh my God, it would be perfect.
Rent it out. rent it out, look at it as like, whatever. And like I say, get with other guys that have good social followings, and you got millions and millions of viewers watching your stuff. They'll be fine.
It's such a good idea. Have you seen what's going on Twitter? And there's a bunch of things going on right now, which are crazy on Instagram. So Instagram crashed the other day because Mike Stud put on a celebrity beer pong tournament. And yeah, it crashed the other day. Yeah. And
crashed the gram.
So what they were doing, it was like Gronkowski and somebody else, right? And there were so many people on the feed that it crashed the program. It crashed the service. But what we're really talking about is we're talking about power back to the players and like creating these athletes and these people that have these followings, and they can really draw eyeballs. And that's where like MLB and all these media conglomerates don't want to lose that power. Because the player, you can see the NBA. The players run the league. That's what it is, right? And if you look at football and baseball, that's the difference. The players don't run the league. So until it becomes fair enough for that situation, we're not going to see. I mean, why does the NBA have a dunk contest and we don't have the equivalent of that in Major League Baseball? Like, we have a $1 million idea that everybody's automatically so many red flags, so many liability waivers and contracts and teams. And instead, if there were no rules and we were just on a baseball field, and we'd be like, go for it. Like, John, I'm sure you and I could go out today and I could face you, and it would be a blast. It would be so much fun.
It wouldn't be that entertaining. Trust me. It would be it'd be quick. But the problem is the pitchers, man. No one's worried about hitters getting hit by shit. They're worried about you guys hurting your little arms.
There it is. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Meanwhile, I'll go crazy.
Well, that's why we need. That's really why everybody knows Mad Max is the man, because he'll throw 7 days in a row.
They're so far off. But I'm sorry. It's the truth. Even the ones that are getting close, you can't do what you need to do on a complete organizational level and then expect it to happen everywhere when you don't have the people in place. They're still not putting the right coaches where they need to be. They still don't. I mean, there's a whole entire organizations that are just still stuck 5-10 years ago. It's just we keep on saying it. I talked to John today about not repeating it. Like, I repeat this all the time. We should have motion. We should have markerless motion capture information on every single swing, on every single. It should be broadcasted live because it can be, but nobody. Oh man, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I digress.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Listen, I think we've been going well. This has been great. I don't want to eat up too much of your time. We got to get going on our side of stuff too. But
so just for everybody, we're doing this every day for the next 3 weeks at least at 10 a.m. Pacific time. This has been brilliant. I'm so impressed with some of the points that you brought up. So thank you very much for joining us. Tomorrow we have Nick Belzer with the Milwaukee Brewers. Kid that I coached with the Mankato Moondogs in the Northwoods League. The following day, we have Weston Germain of Mill City Throwing. We'll continue to post up thumbnails and everything. Like last night, I posted that John was going to be on, and then we had stuff today. So every day, 10 a.m. Pacific, Cutternation podcast. As long as people keep showing up.
John, I'll reach out to you also. I think that you and I going back and forth, or all of us going back and forth, some of those videos would be super cool, because we see, how awesome has been the MLB Network recently, like just all of these awesome games. And, we watched Game 2, Smoltz. It was the Pirates and the Braves of Game 2 of the '92 World Series or something like that. It was Smoltz and somebody for the Pirates. But, dude, the guy from the Pirates, what was his name? Buckner?
This is not my...
Anyway, it doesn't matter. He was just bangers. It was hilarious. I was laughing because you could see, like, he was completely backwards or inside out on guys, and he's going like front door slider, banger, change, and all of these against like Ron Gant and all of these guys for the Braves, and they're just nowhere close on anything. So we'll definitely get.
And they were swinging, and there's, yeah, we got into it, dude. There's so much more, because, I mean, like I said, yeah, you just start digging into numbers and things like that. Who we got over there, huh?
That's the Vanimal. That's the Vanimal himself.
Yeah, because, I mean, like I said, when I talk to my pro guys, it's like, dude, just eliminate like eliminate the off-speed pitch. I haven't had one pro guy get off-speed pitches in the strike zone higher than like 18% of the year. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not getting off-speed pitches in the strike zone at all. So yeah, I guess we can talk about that a whole nother topic. But yeah, that staying off that curveball, man, as much as you can. Make sure you're throwing for strikes and go from there, dude. But yeah, it's crazy.
That reminds me too. We gotta get together because we got some pro guys too. Whenever we do get the AOK to go outside and do stuff, I'll reach out and we'll set up our fun times. We'll set up some good stuff and get some good. I hope I give up
have
the bomb.
Some good weather to. We'll be good. Yeah, hopefully.
All right, guys. This has been awesome. Right. Thank you very much, John. I appreciate you, man.
Don't forget to subscribe. Mash this like button. We'll put some stuff out on YouTube or I'm on Twitter and our social media networks to go from there. John, how do people find you?
It's PeabodyBaseball.com or at Peabody Baseball on Twitter.
Cool. This has been great, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for always being an amazing guest and taking a little time to come over and hang out with us.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
Appreciate it, bud.
All right. Later, boys. Later. Thank you.